Hey, this is Meleika of Evanston Live TV, the voice of the people. I had the honor of stopping by Mayor Hagerty's office today because I wanted to know what is going on with this minimum wage conversation. Why wouldn't anyone want a man or a woman to be able to take care of their family? What is the issue with raising the minimum wage? Apparently, there are some Evanstonians that have a problem with it. So I wanted to speak with our mayor directly, Mayor Hagerty, and he was more than happy to just sit down and talk with Evanston Live TV. Check this episode out.
Hi, Meleika. It's always nice to be with you.
Hi, Mayor Hagerty. Social media has been buzzing this morning
It sure has.
about the minimum wage, and everyone wants to know, what does our mayor think of this minimum wage? What's happening?
Yeah. I think that, as I said during the campaign, that our working families in this community and other communities deserve an increase in the minimum wage. I feel very strongly about that. And we could just let this bill or this Cook County ordinance take effect. We can, we can opt in, so to speak, take effect on July 1st. And that's one thing that can be done. There are some concern, raised by people in this community about the fact that Wilmette on Monday night opted out of the Cook County ordinance, that Skokie is taking it up next week to possibly opt out. As strongly as I personally feel that the minimum wage should increase for our working families, I also feel strongly that we should practice good government. And just as we don't like what's going on in Washington, D.C. right now with what the Republicans are doing with health care in the Senate and having no public conversations about it, I feel equally the same that here in this community, that would be a disservice to all of the residents and our businesses and potentially our local economy not to have a discussion about whether the city should temporarily opt out to give us more time to consider a final decision on this. So the council meeting that's going to occur tomorrow morning is one of whether the city should just immediately opt in, and they could do that by voting against the ordinance that will be discussed, or they could say, no, we want to temporarily opt out so we can have some more time, and then on June 10th have a further conversation about it.
Why would anyone go against raising the minimum wage?
That's a great question. So, some people have expressed concern that if Wilmette's not part of the Cook County minimum wage, and if Skokie's not part of the Cook County minimum wage, and again, we won't know with Skokie till next week, that some businesses in town, perhaps restaurants that pay people less than what this new minimum wage would be on Cook County, might take their business and go to Wilmette. Or might take their business and go to Skokie if Skokie's out of it, right? Because the deal with this minimum wage is, again, I think it's a very moderate measure here and a gradual measure where it will be increasing $1 a year for the next 4 years, raising it up to $13 an hour. And so, if there are neighboring communities that aren't part of that, then they may very well, these businesses say, oh, well, I could go, over to Wilmette and do business and potentially, make less money or charge less for my services to work over there. Now, what I would argue is that we are also right next to Chicago, and Chicago over a year ago passed a minimum wage increase. They're further ahead than the Cook County ordinance, which I think is great.
So what do you think you're going to hear tomorrow morning? How do you think it's going to play out tomorrow morning?
How do I think it's going to play out? I think that I will try and do a good job at the very beginning, just framing this conversation, similar to what I've framed it now, about this is how good government should work, where we actually have, public discussion and public debate about issues. Things shouldn't happen, behind a closed door, again, like what's happening in Washington with healthcare. And anyone that thinks that that's the way it should happen, I disagree. And I feel really, really strongly about the importance of good government. I think the council acted on that on Monday night with a decision in regards to the Harley Clark mansion here in Evanston, and I think they'll do the same tomorrow morning.
Voice your concerns at the City Council meeting tomorrow, Friday, 10 a.m. at the Civic Center.